It's day 2 of posting every day on YouTube until I can buy a C8 Corvette. This video is sponsored by Milwaukee. I'm just kidding. If it was, I'd already have the vet. Today, I want to talk about how to start an automotive YouTube channel. The best advice I can give you is just to dive in. If you're already in the garage and you're wrenching on stuff and you've thought about posting a couple of things, just do it. Just dive in. You'd be surprised how well some videos do without putting in like kind of effort. You can see these guys putting in hundreds of hours of work in editing every single video. And I've noticed one thing on my channel. I've spent probably 12 hours editing a couple of videos that got like 30 views. And no joke, the best performing long form video on my channel was literally me sitting in front of the car like this. And I was talking about why I like blow through carburetors. It's like just a 5-minute video, like a one cut Larry of just record, talk, and that's the best one. It's got like 10,000 views. I did another video that was real in depth. I spent a ton of time editing it, and that was doing this panel here, so which is actually pretty cool. If you're not familiar with the 78 Camaro, this is what the fender actually looks like. It had its chrome piece here, had some holes in it. I filled those. It had the side marker lights here, and I filled this, I welded this closed, I welded this gap, body filled it all, and made it one panel. So, and then this was the end result. So, but I spent so much time on this video, put so much effort into it for it to get 30 views, and I come over here and just talk about the car and get 10,000 views without doing hardly any editing or anything. So I think the gist of it is if you have something of value that people want to know, or a tip or a trick that you learned along the way, and if you just sit there and talk about that, you'd be surprised how well it would actually do if it brings good value. People know if you're like shit or not. So like, if you're sitting there dropping all these faceless YouTube channels, which some people have some success with it, but at the end of the day, nobody's gonna like that stuff. If you get on here and be authentic, you're gonna do much better. Next thing is, you don't gotta dive in too much into all the equipment you need. You don't need to get fancy lights. You don't need to do any of that. As you see, I have just a couple of crappy lights I grabbed at Home Depot just to help light this place up just a little bit. I use a GoPro and my phone. So between those two things, it's great. This is the phone that I usually use, which I mean works perfect. The audio on it's really good. And nowadays with all the cool software, you hear all kinds of wind noise in the background. You hear my boys screaming in the house, acting a fool. So, but you can't hear any of that. And that's because of this Capcut Pro. So I use that. It's super easy. Definitely worth it. I don't even know if you can get affiliated with it, but if you can, I'll put the link down there below. All right, this is what it's like before doing voice isolation. Okay, so you got wind noise. But yeah, so people are working around you before isolation. And this is after isolation. As you can see, I'm still hitting it, but you can't hear that. All right, so I got sidetracked. Equipment-wise, you don't need much. You need the fancy Bluetooth mics or any of that to get started, okay? Get your GoPro or a phone, and you're set. If you just got your iPhone or your Android or whatever. I personally like using my Android. I do have an iPhone as well for work, but I like using this Android mainly because of this. How cool is this? I can use my really nice cameras and not have the crappy selfie cam, and I can actually see what's going on with it with the screen previews. This is probably one of my favorite phones out there right now. This is crazy that you can do this. So it helps a lot for creating content. I literally just thought about this as I was making this little vlog here, is everything around you is content. So me sitting here talking about how you don't need microphones, you don't need all of that, all of a sudden I just thought of another video I could post to help people out. And that's, you don't need those little Bluetooth things or whatever. If you don't need those Bluetooth mics, you can just use the voice isolation on CapCut. Okay, just created my own video and my own test. I can make a 1-minute video and teach somebody how to use a voice isolation in CapCut and how well it works banging a wrench against the car. So that's a video right there that might get, who knows, it might get 4, 5, 6,000 views. There's content around you everywhere.